Hi, my dear friends, Punarvas Jayakumar here. Before I introduce my guest for today's podcast, generally I post technical stuff on my channel. As you know, I'm a chartered accountant and a CA trainer. But today I want to do something different, something hatke. I've always been fascinated with the world of theater and cinema. And those of you who know me, you know that I'm a connoisseur of both. This year in particular has been the step in the right direction for me because I was not able to give much time to watching plays and musicals, but this year has been really good. Theater is a very, very difficult art form because there are no retakes. You have to captivate the audience from beginning till the end. There are no teleprompts, for like the newsreader will have a teleprompt. And of course, the energy level should be top notch from the beginning till the end. Couple of days ago, last Sunday, I watched a beautiful musical called Something Rotten at Chaudhaya Memorial. It is produced by Cause Foundation. The musical is known for its humor. It has some amazing puns and innuendos. I really had a gala time there, laughing my lungs out. And it has very, very catchy musical numbers, and it just not only parodies but also draws inspiration from classical plays, the Shakespearean plays, and many other famous musicals. So it was a full house at Chaudhaya because in the nowadays we are all consumed by OTT and we are slaves to OTT. Movies also here and there we go, but plays nobody watches is what I thought, but I was pleasantly surprised to see a full house. And many of my students also are interested in theater, and they also, some of my teachers as well are theater artists. Anyway, coming to the man of the hour now, the lead role in that musical is my guest today, my dear friends. His name is Mr. Rahel Roy Thomas. So, Mr. Rahel, welcome to my podcast. Thank you so much for doing this, first of all.
It's an absolute pleasure to be here. Thank you for getting in touch. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this.
Great. So, Mr. Rahel wears many hats, my dear friends. He's a Western vocal trainer. During the day, he does that. During weekends, he's a singer, he's an actor, he's a songwriter, he's a voiceover artist, he's a audio book recording artist, and he's also a karaoke artist as well. So many things, wonderful. And I watched him in the play, his energy levels from the beginning. I mean, kudos to the entire team, okay, not just him. The entire cast and crew of Something Rotten were unbelievable. But the thing is, Rahel, especially from the beginning till the end, the same energy, because musical includes dance, acting, singing, many, many things. So I watched him perform and I was completely blown away. So let's hear it from the horse's mouth. So I just have a few questions for him so that it will be a nice interactive session. So, Rahel, can you please tell me about your experience in preparing for this lead role of Nick Bottom in Something Rotten? What drew you to this particular musical and to this particular role as well?
Thanks. Once again, I'm so excited to be here. I just want to reiterate that. Along with all the kind, the very kind introduction that you have given me, I just like to say I do wear many hats and I have a lot of creative energy and they go in multiple directions. I remember my education is in engineering. I finished my engineering. I did my BE, and I worked also for 2 years in the corporate environment. But then after a while, I figured out it wasn't for me. In the sense that there's nothing wrong with it. It's great to be in a corporate environment. Everything is structured. But after 2 years, it just became the same thing. It's
Right.
if you notice in big companies, they are all process driven, right? So you'll be doing the same thing. And as long as you're doing a good job, they just want you to do that one thing.
Right.
Whereas for me, like I just said, I have an immense amount of creative energy that I feel can go in multiple areas. So
Okay.
I felt there was a lot of potential that was missing.
Okay.
And that is why before I get to my, the way I went into getting around this role of Nick Bottom, I wanted to make sure that whoever's going to listen to this should know that if you have one name, but you shouldn't be defined by just one thing in
That's
your
true.
life,
Very true.
right? You could have done your degree in CA, but you may be an amazing actor. You
Right.
could have been an engineer, but maybe you have a natural talent in cooking. There's no one way to do things. we live in an India that is filled with opportunities, filled with social media. You have so many groups coming up on Instagram that are just a DM away. You can do something by day and you can do something else by night as well. It's just about, like you said, keeping up that energy and having the passion for it.
Right.
And now, after answering that first part, let me get to answering your actual question.
Right.
Um, the role of Nick Bottom was presented to me by Laila Alvarez, who has been doing musicals in Bangalore for 26 years.
Right.
And she, because of the longevity that she's had over the years in producing successful musicals, and I'm saying this because you yourself have been a witness to it. You know, I'm
Right.
not
Right.
just saying it for promotion purpose. You
Right.
you yourself saw it, and you knew that there was a certain standard. She's
Mm.
very passionate about this, and she always makes sure that every detail is taken care of,
Okay.
which has been which is what the audience responds to, according to me, at the end of the day. And she's always got her house full shows. Now, I joined her when I was 16 years, and
Okay.
at that time I was doing my PUC in St. Joseph's,
Okay.
and she had put down an audition call.
All right.
And all I had to do is, just like you said, musicals have three parts, right? You have to act, sing, and dance.
Mm.
When we went into the audition, that was the simple question that she asked.
Right.
I had gone with my mother. You know, my mother was scared. What is this audition?
Okay.
Uh,
Mm.
but yeah, my mother was kind enough to join me, and then we went in for the audition. And then she asked me the three questions. She gave me a script.
Okay.
She asked me to act out a couple of lines,
Okay.
and then she looked at it whether she can work with it and improve it.
Okay.
Then she did a tick mark there. Okay, acting done. She asked if I can sing. I performed a song with my guitar,
Great.
and the second test was passed. Now, for me, according to me, I'm not the best dancer, right? I need practice. Out of the three, if you
Mm.
ask me, so I was very open with her, saying, Laila, I know musicals require dance, but I'll be very honest with you, I'm not the best dancer.
Okay.
Instead of this is what I want to mention about Laila.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of accepting my word for it, taking my word for it, she said, you know what? Why don't I play some music and let me just see what you do,
Okay.
right?
That's
And
cool.
I'm
Yeah.
saying this is very important because usually what we do ourselves, we have a certain image of ourselves,
Mm.
right? And we may bring ourselves down unknowingly,
Right. Very
right?
true.
In my head, I'm thinking, oh, I'm not a dancer, so please excuse me. We are always very apologetic, and especially speaking about Indians. We are so we are
Yeah.
modest,
Yeah.
we are apologetic.
Yeah.
Please excuse me. I'm sorry for being late. Nothing wrong with that. It's a great, what do you say? It's a great value to have, but sometimes we overdo it. But
Mm.
kudos to Laila. She said, you know what? Why don't I play some music and you show me? And I
Okay.
just did a free flowing dance, nothing
Okay.
practice, just
Okay.
enjoyed myself.
Okay.
And you won't believe it. After that, she immediately said, "You're in.
Amazing.
You're in the musical."
Okay. Very
So I'm
good.
just trying to say, sometimes you just need that one person
Right.
to just give you what do you say? Just say it's okay. Just try.
Fun.
No, just try. Who knows what we have? So now this is when I'm 16, and then
Mm.
over the years, what she used to do is Laila is very good. She has a very good eye for casting,
Okay.
right? She knows, she thinks, she has a very good vision of the whole musical. Then she will know the characters that she has, and then based on that she will invite you for the audition and see whether you can take that
Okay.
character forward. So now, all these years later, I've been with the cause for 15 years now,
Okay.
and all these years later, she gives me a call. She says, Rahel, I have a character in mind,
Okay.
right? And I think it will suit you. Why don't you come in and let's see what we can do?
Okay.
And then she hands me the script. This is 3 months prior to the show that you saw. So
Okay.
we take minimum 2 months for practice, and then 1 month prior she gives the script to the actors so that
Okay.
we learn that.
Sure.
Now I get the script, and I'm going through it, and I'm seeing that he's there in almost every. Obviously, he's the lead. He's there in
Totally.
every scene,
Every scene.
but
Yeah.
at the same time, he's there with multiple different characters. It's
Right.
not like
Right.
he's always stuck with one character, right? So
Right.
then I'm realizing that his interaction with so many different people, it's really important to get that across. And when you say how I prepared for it, it was very simple. When I read the whole musical, I realized that he's more or less a common man.
Right.
And why I'm saying this, the first scene introduces him at his job, right?
Right.
He's at
Mm.
his job, he's with his theater troupe, and they are trying to come up with a play so that they can, become a hit. The second scene is at his house,
Right.
where he's with his wife and he's with
His
his
wife.
brother.
Yeah.
Is
Mm.
that interaction? And then the third scene goes on to the soothsayer alley because he's, trying to figure out what to do. So then I said, okay, this is the nuance that I have to follow. He's a common man. He's just trying to do his best at his job by his family. And if I take this route, I'm sure I can create something very authentic that the audience will resonate with. So that is the answer. Not so in a nutshell, but I
Oh,
wanted to elaborate. Yeah.
that's excellent. Thank you so much. In fact, as you rightly said, they just need one person to say, "Hey, man, look, it's fine." Because generally, even students here, they always say, "Sir, I cannot do this. I cannot do that." But yeah,
Yeah.
if anybody can just say, "Hey, look, just do it." That's very, very nice thing. It's the same across everywhere, is what you have, clearly mentioned.
Yeah.
Very good. So this play, this musical has been performed by so many people across the globe. Is what I was reading up. It's probably one
Yeah.
of the oldest Broadway musicals. So was there pressure, and how did you? I already mentioned how you approached it, but what was the most challenging thing to portray this character? And because of course there is pressure as well, because it's one of the
Yeah.
oldest, and many wonderful actors have performed this. So how did you handle the pressure, or was there any?
So
Yeah.
no, for me, I'm not trying to be pompous. I'm just being very matter of fact. For me,
Good.
it is an absolute joy to be on stage. I look forward to any opportunity I get, and
Okay.
Laila has been so kind. She's given me uh, roles over the years that she feels, that I suit, and she's kept calling me back. Thank you so much, Laila, for that. If you ever hear this, I'm sure she's going to hear it.
Yeah.
Thanks once again, Laila, for every opportunity. Pressure, no, because I knew Laila will give me certain direction, and then after that, she'll let me take it forward. I wasn't pressurized in that sense, but when you say that many actors have done this role, yes, we have professional actors on
Right.
Broadway, on West End, right? Broadway will be in New York and West End is in England. They've
Mm.
performed this musical and they've done a great justice.
Right.
So, how I tackled that, or how I thought I can change that, is uh, this has been written by two Americans. So naturally, what their direction was that the lead character will be American,
Mm.
and that's what I noticed. All the actors have done. They all come in with an American accent,
Right.
but I noticed that this is actually set in England, right? The whole thing is based out of England. We know
Right.
Shakespeare is also from England.
Right.
So then, when I was discussing the role with Laila, she was like, "You know what? Let's just do a British accent.
Great.
Let's not follow what everyone else has done. Let's
Hmm.
try to be a little more authentic to what the period where it's set in and where these characters come from."
Right.
So we know these characters come from Cornwall, which is in England.
Right.
So she said, "Let's do this. Let everyone be British,
Okay.
or at least try to emphasize in a very British way, even if you don't want to be completely British."
True.
So this small change, right, that Laila mentioned,
Hmm.
made a world of a difference, and it changed so many things
Okay.
compared to the previous actors.
Okay.
And then for me, the minute I started using the British thing, it started coming together, and it made a world of a difference. And I would say this was that small suggestion was the key to the overall thing coming together. Yeah.
That's so cool. How did you manage the accent? I mean, did you have to like practice a lot, or how did that happen?
So for me, I mean, 90s kids, we had
Hmm.
Cartoon Network,
Oh
if
yeah,
you
we did.
remember.
Yeah, yeah, we
Yeah,
do.
we had Cartoon Network. I used to sit at home. My parents, to their credit, they let me watch what I
Okay.
wanted to watch.
Okay.
They
Okay.
weren't too strict with, this is go, no, don't waste your time with this. They were very open to me sitting and watching different things.
Okay.
And then every character on Cartoon Network, you'll have multiple characters. Some will be American, some will suddenly be a Russians,
Right.
some
Right.
will have a British thing. So I would say my start into being getting into a character or getting into some sort of a different accent has come from there.
Okay.
So TV would be your answer. So as a kid, I used to, for fun, take part in mono act. They used to
Right.
have
On
mono
my.
act in school, where you
Right.
have to play multiple characters, right?
Right.
So
Right.
then initially it would be Cartoon Network, then I would prepare for mono act, and then that's how slowly and gradually. So by the time I got into my engineering, I had a
Mhm.
good hold on an American accent and a British accent. These two I was fairly comfortable with,
Okay.
and this skill came off use all these years later. So I think another thing I'd like to tell your students is,
Hmm.
no matter what age group you're in, sometimes you may be given a skill unknowingly,
Correct.
right? You never know where it comes from. You may have a teacher who's teaching you something now, and you'll think, oh my gosh, when am I going to use it in life? Because
Correct.
right now in your life you're not using it at all. So you
True.
think, what is the point of this, right? But patience is the key. So many years later, I'm getting to use that skill now, and it is helping me create a very authentic experience for everyone else, which ultimately at the end of the day, that's what people want, right? They want
Right.
uh, to see something that they can relate to.
Right.
So, yeah, so when it came to getting that accent down, it's basically a skill that was there in my childhood that is come of use now. Yes.
That's so cool, man. Because generally we generally tend to think, common man like me would tend to think that an actor would prepare for the accent, he would obviously listen to the how a word has to be pronounced. But if you could get it out of Cartoon Network, nothing like it. Amazing. So cool. Now I know that musicals often require a lot of energy, a lot of stamina. You have to sing, dance, and your character, especially as you said, was there in almost every scene. So
Yeah.
how do you manage to excel in all these things, and how do you maintain, most importantly, your performance level? Uh, Show after show. So, but dear students, the show was in Bangalore. Next, they have, I think, three shows lined up, one in Mysore. So, all my Mysore students, please do go. See, this is not a promotional thing. I genuinely wanted to do it, and Rahel also genuinely wanted to do it. It's really amazing.
Absolutely.
So you have to do and enjoy this thing, because see, even you'll be studying all this for the exam. The next few months is gonna come. Just go there one night, just couple of hours, have fun with your family. So one is coming up in Mysore, the other one in Goa, and one in
Yeah.
Mangalore, if I'm not wrong, right? So please
Correct.
do
Exactly.
Mangalore. Many of my students are in Mangalore, guys. Please do Goa, guys. Please go Mysore. Please go and watch. It's in Jagan Mohan Palace. I'll give you more details about it. But how do you manage this energy level? Because the same energy you need to bring it to Jagan Mohan Palace, to Goa, to Bangalore. How is it possible?
Okay.
Yeah.
So when it comes to the energy, like I said, we rehearse for 2 months
Okay.
prior to the show. Uh, in those 2 months, how Laila sets it up is, first she does it separately. She takes the dancers separately. She takes the actors and singers separately. And actors and singers are usually the same people, so that group is in one side. Now, what she does is she leaves the dancing part to the dance director or the choreographer and tells them, okay, you take care of the dancers, right? And I will go work on the music and the acting part,
Okay.
right? So she's already delegated work there. So now, initially, in the first few weeks of the month, we are basically separate,
Okay.
right? We haven't come together as a group yet.
Okay.
And she likes that. She wants every detail to be finished one at a time, and then she will bring it together, because her gift is she has the visual of the whole musical from the start, right?
Right.
It's not an easy thing to do. A lot of directors have this, and she has it as well. She knows what she wants from the beginning,
Okay.
and then if it doesn't work later, she knows how to quickly get a solution for that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Which is definitely an important skill to have as a director, a manager, CEO, anything, any of that sort, anything
Right.
of that sort, any
Right.
management professional,
Right.
right? So, as I said, first we are taken separately. Then maybe towards the second month, we are brought together, and
Okay.
then we start doing it as it's going to be on stage.
Okay.
That means around 1 hour 45 minutes to 2 hours, based on the length. So now this is called the full rehearsal,
Okay.
right? And what it does is, initially when you're practicing, it gives you an easier way to get into the musical. You are
Mm.
not thrown in directly to 2 hours.
Right. Right.
You're eased into it. right?
Hmm.
So what's happening is, okay, I've learned my lines. Laila, our director, she basically said lines should be by heart before you come for the first day,
Sorry to
because that's
interject,
how,
but sorry to
yeah,
interject. How do you remember the lines, man? Because there are so many. I mean, this was a question. I've been reading up. Different actors have different, what do you say, techniques, so to speak. What is
yeah.
your technique? If it's okay sharing.
Right. So this goes back to being a science student where we had to mug up, theorems, and we had to mug up so many, what do you say, diagrams. You had to
Right.
mug up your circuit diagrams. You had to learn things, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, see, I mean, it's always better to have practical knowledge, but currently, I mean, things have changed since I have been in the education system. But when I was there, it was more about mugging. Let's be
Mugging.
honest.
Yeah, true, true.
You want your marks? Please mug
Mug.
and come, and you'll get your marks. So, like I said, most of these skills of my childhood are coming in handy right now.
Okay.
What I used to do is I used to take the physics textbook, and I'll
Okay.
walk in the room.
Okay. Okay.
And somehow that's that kind of mix of a mental and physical exercise would I would be able to imbibe a lot of lines at a single time,
Okay.
right? And then that has come of use in theater. So the answer to your question is that is my go-to. Over
Okay.
the years now, because I've been doing it for these past 15 years, it's become easier. I don't have to just walk around everywhere. Now I just read and it comes through. And the second part to this equation is you rehearse every day, almost every day,
Okay.
so you get used to doing it and it
Hmm.
becomes muscle memory. So it's a two factor thing. One is you have to prepare yourself separately, where you start reading more. So
Hmm.
the answer to your question is start reading more. uh,
Oh, cool.
that is the first part, and the second one is you have to rehearse almost every day, maybe
Do
take
you
a
do it
break
at
once.
home as well? Do you do it at home as well? When you're free, you rehearse or only with the group?
The rehearsal is only with the group because, as you know, it's based on interaction, right? It's all
Hmm.
about that timing. He has to
Okay.
say a line, I have to react, and vice
Right.
versa. At home, it's generally the mistakes that we have made. So Laila
Hmm.
will say, okay, this line wasn't up to the mark. So please,
Okay.
make sure you know your lines, go back and revise. That's
Okay.
what it is. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Very nice. So, what kind of emotional connection do you feel with the character, and also like before and even after? For example, I've read stories about Jared Leto. He apparently locked himself in a room for a month to prepare for the Joker. In the
Right.
Suicide Squad. So, what is your mindset before the entire show, and after the show? Do you linger on? Is Nick Bottom in you, or is it Rahel all over? How is it? How is it for you as an actor personally?
This is a very good question.
Yeah.
In terms of the role, Nick came to me on day one of rehearsal, because for me, when you're reading the script, it isn't still physical motion; it's still in
Mhm.
your mind, right?
Mhm.
You make plans of how you can execute the character, and you think, okay, this is what Nick will be, or this is what your character will be. But on day one of the rehearsal, so many things change.
Mm.
They just keep changing suddenly, and it's somewhat subconscious. It's not exactly in your control.
Right.
And I think that has to do with the sudden movement and sudden reaction with characters.
Mm.
So I would say that Nick is an amalgamation of all the groups that he's a part of on stage.
Okay.
First, he's with his theater group, so there he's a professional. Secondly, he goes home, so then suddenly he becomes a husband,
Right.
right? And then after that, he's trying to solve the problem of trying to beat Shakespeare, so then that kind of emotion comes out.
Right.
So to answer the question, Nick is basically a character of his circumstance. Whatever
Okay.
environment he's in, that is the Nick that you see,
Okay.
which I feel the audience kind of really associates with, because we as people are like that. It's not like you're the same person you are at work, you're the same person you are at home. It's impossible to be that all the
Right.
time. We have a depth of emotion inside of us, right? As human beings, at work you may be a little more sheltered, you may be more formal. The minute
Mm.
you're home, you come out. So
Yeah.
for me, I think that was what that is how Nick appeared to me, because
Okay.
when he's with his work troop, he's a certain way. He's more bossy. He's a little more bossy because he knows he's the boss, right?
Hmm.
When he's at home, he's like, trying to be
Good husband.
bossy, but his wife is the boss,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You know
Right.
that she's the boss at home, no matter what you do. And then his relationship with his brother. You have a beautiful relationship with your siblings. Sometimes y'all are fighting with each other, but at the end of the day, no, you're my brother, right?
Right, right,
You're my
right.
sister.
Right.
So Nick is basically a creature of his circumstance. That's how his character came,
Okay.
and I don't know if he'll stay with me. It's still too early to say, right? We have a bunch of shows left. I will say
Yeah.
this: I did a musical with Laila a couple of years ago, maybe
Okay.
2014. I could be wrong.
Okay.
The
I think
musical's name
your
was. Yeah, I know. I'll just
no
adjust
problem.
it.
No problem.
Camera.
Director's camera now focusing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there we go. There. Yeah,
There
it's
you go.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I did a musical with her called Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, which is again
Okay.
based on a movie. It's a
Yes.
famous movie,
Yes, it's a famous movie.
right?
Yeah. Hmm.
It's a famous movie. So in that, I played a one of the con men called Freddie Benson,
Okay.
and he's a low life kind of uh, character, right?
Hmm.
His character stayed with me for a while, I must
Oh,
say,
okay.
because he was
Okay.
he was very rude, and I remember it came home with me for a bit. And sometimes when I was speaking to someone at home, suddenly Freddie used to come out, and that's when I realized, okay, this
Okay.
is a real thing. I need to figure out how to. But so far, Nick hasn't made any appearances. He's just being on stage. Yeah.
How did you snap out of it, the previous character? That it's a very interesting thing, because if the character sort of, overlaps how you are, what you are, how did you snap out of it? Did your family help you, or was it a self-conscious decision to come out of it?
It was a self-conscious one because I remember when I realized that Freddy was still there was we
Hmm?
had finished the show and we were just discussing among cast members. This was off. We were in the green room somewhere,
Okay.
and then someone said something. And usually
Hmm.
I'm not triggered by small petty things,
Okay.
but then for some reason I was triggered by something and I just shouted at that person.
Okay.
And for
Okay.
me, in my life, I have never shouted at anyone. I'm not that person at all. I'm
Okay.
completely opposite. I'm on a spectrum of extrovert and introvert. I would say I'm more slightly towards the introvert side.
Okay. Okay.
Um so it was a shock to me because I've
Okay.
never shouted at a person, and then after that, it was a very evident realization that Freddy is still inside me. You better
Yeah. Super
calm
cool.
down and get out of it. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So So yeah, one very important thing that you mentioned was you're an introvert. Doesn't look like it, but I'm sure you are. So but, maybe an ambivert, introvert, whatever. So one important thing, many students come to me and say, "Sir, I'm an introvert. I cannot speak to people." So guys, this guy actually performed in front of 800,000 people the other day, and I'm sure he has done many such plays. Performing in front of people. So it's not about how you are as a person. It's just you need to let your hair down and enjoy. What do you say to that, Mr. Rahil?
100%. I
Yeah,
completely agree.
yeah.
Uh, Also, an added thing is if you have the backing of, see, in my case, I was confident on stage because I had a backing of 2 months rehearsal continuously, right?
Mm, mm,
Then there is no room for nervousness that your brain will give you. Your
mm.
brain is automatically wired to say, oh, you know this by heart now, right?
Right.
There's nothing that can go wrong. So I think rehearsal and practice, or repetitive, uh, what do you say, learning. And I'm not saying mugging, that's
Right.
not what I
Right.
mean.
Got
I
it.
I meant small compounding increments of working on your craft really, they result in a huge euphoria. Like we had a certain graph, in exponential graph,
Exponential graph.
uh, right? An exponential graph. So
Right.
these, you have these small increments of regular practice,
Mm,
right? And then it suddenly explodes. So according to me, when it comes to things like being confident, speaking in front of people, if you do it in small moments every day,
mhm.
after a certain point it just becomes second nature to you. So for example, we are educators, right? We are teaching
Right.
students online, right? That gives us an opportunity to speak to multiple people uh, I won't say continuously, but at least minimum an hour a day,
Very
right?
true. Yeah.
That is definitely helping you and me speak to each other right now, even
Very
though
true.
this is probably one of the first times we've met. We are
Yes.
still able to converse, we are able to connect,
Yeah.
right? So I think I would say continuously working on your craft in small amounts leads to an exponential, release, an exponential result. Yeah.
That's a great thought. Thank you. Now, let's go to something on the lighter side. Sir, can you share any memorable or funny incident, a gaffe or a faux pas that something happened with you or with your something during the show,
On stage,
which
right? Which we
on
can't
stage,
change because
which you
there are no
can't change?
takes.
Yeah, yeah, no
Oh
takes.
my
And
goodness.
how did you
Yeah,
react to that? Because I mean, if you burst out laughing, then that there ends the point. So, is there
exactly.
anything like that?
Oh my gosh.
I'm sure there are
Yeah,
many.
yeah. There is one I'll mention, and I won't mention who it happened to. Uh, um, Basically, it's one of the prominent characters, and they confidently walked on stage with their zip open.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And we are all looking from the wings, and they're like,
Okay.
they haven't realized, right?
Right,
Because
right, right,
they don't know, they can't see down.
right,
And
right.
then all of us are looking, and I'm sure the audience hadn't noticed. It's just that we know, right? Because we are so
Right,
used to seeing them in the
right,
costume and then
right.
so yeah, that is a lighter moment that I'd like to share. But it didn't make a difference to the character. They just walked off stage and then they were laughing. So it was,
Okay.
yeah, a very light-hearted moment. Yeah.
Nice. Coming to the audience, see, being a trainer, sometimes I have 10 students, sometimes in Chennai, I handle like 1,000 students at once. I mean, I'm sure you also have had audience which is in 800s, 200, 100, and sometimes probably one or two. So, how does the audience's energy and reactions influence your performance on stage? Does it matter? And even we see in cricket, Virat Kohli always spurring the crowd on, asking them to shout
Yeah.
RCB, though we have never won. That's another thing. But
Yeah.
yes, so how do you think that matters? And especially in theater, how important is the etiquette also by the audience? Because they can't just
Right.
keep hooting and whistling all around. But how
Absolutely.
important is the audience, matter to you in terms of
Uh,
performance?
for me personally, not I'm not talking about the whole group. For me personally, it's very important.
Okay.
I like a reactive audience. And why I say this is the script of Something Rotten is very funny.
Right.
They have puns left, right, and center. So I
Right.
have that confidence knowing that the material itself is so funny. I
Hmm.
know an audience will be laughing.
Hmm.
And you won't believe it. There were some places where in rehearsal we didn't find it funny, right?
Okay.
But then we have brought it to the theater, and the audience is laughing at that point.
Okay.
And then
Okay.
we are discussing after the show, like, did you see that they laughed at that line, which
Right.
no one thought. So the audience response is really, according to me, I feel it's really important. If you have a
Okay.
very responsive audience, it adds to your performance.
Okay.
Having said that, our director has been very firm in saying that your energy has to be top notch from the start to the end.
Hmm.
Be it one person in sitting, be it a full hall. You should not differentiate. You have trained for 2 months. Just use that training to keep your energy up throughout. So the practice is to be 100% whether there are 10 people or 1,000. But to answer your question, it definitely makes a huge difference, and which is definitely why you have a number one players like Virat Kohli asking people to pump them up.
Right.
It changes things
Correct.
because we could be performing at the highest level,
Right.
right? But when an audience doesn't react as much, we feel, oh, maybe we are not performing to that level.
Correct.
So it's basically a subconscious kind of thing.
Right.
Whereas you might be performing maybe 70%, but the audience is in an uproar. Then we are like, okay, they like this.
Hmm.
Let us not give them a chance to lose their energy.
Right.
It's all about motivation.
Right.
So
Right.
that's the answer to your question.
Great. And on the flip side, though, have audience for example, though we are Indians, though we tell them not
Yeah.
to use the phone, we use it at the loudest volume possible. Has that annoyed
Right.
you on stage?
It has happened multiple times.
Okay.
It hasn't caused any issues so far.
Okay.
and it hasn't annoyed me at on stage, but at practice, I won't say it has annoyed me, but it has taken me out of
Okay.
uh, the character.
I
It
always
happened
wanted
once at practice. Yeah, I'm
I,
sorry to
no, no,
interject.
sorry, sorry, sorry.
It
Hmm.
happened once at practice, and I lost the line.
Okay.
So yeah, it hasn't happened on stage.
Okay. Always
By
wanted
then
to
we
ask.
are too confident. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
go ahead, go ahead.
Wanted to ask an actor this, how annoying or not annoying this is, because it, even for an audience member, it's quite disturbing, when somebody, when
Yeah,
you're into the play and then somebody just go
right.
and just things like that. Cool. Uh,
Yeah.
then coming to the director, Mrs. Laila, how important is a director to a musical? Of course, she or he is the man or lady of the show, but how important is it? And is there any scope for an actor to improvise? Will a director allow that, or how is Ms. Laila as a director?
Yeah, what a perfect question. Uh, the director is the captain of the ship. She's not
Yeah.
only looking at acting, she's looking at the dances. She's looking at the musicians who are
Hmm.
the main part of the musical at the end of the day.
Right.
What they play is what we sing over,
Okay.
right? She's looking at the musician department, she's looking at the dance department, she's looking at costumes,
Hmm.
which are so important to the character. She has to see how they look on stage. She's
Right.
looking at the makeup department. I have to mention this time, Laila, make sure we learn a minimum one new skill with every production.
Okay.
This year, it was the skill of makeup.
I
She,
saw that post. Yeah.
right, she
So
had
cool. Yeah.
mentioned it.
Hmm.
We have a very famous actress, Madhuri Briganza. She's very
Hmm.
big in the South film industry.
Hmm.
And she knows her craft when it comes to makeup. So
Okay.
Laila basically requested her to host a makeup workshop,
Okay.
and then we learned to do our own makeup, right?
Okay.
So okay, so now makeup department, like I was saying, makeup department, music. She has we pay for the rights of this musical.
Hmm.
The proceeds that we get from the tickets, they go to charities and they go to funding the next year's production, which we
Right.
get from the original writers.
Right.
So we pay for the rights. She has to look at that. She has to look at navigating the travel, the cost of the food for the cast, the stay of the cast.
Hmm.
So to answer your question, she has a lot on her plate.
Hmm.
Nothing. What we have to do is just perform. It's
Hmm.
nothing compared to what she has to go through.
Hmm.
And as a director, she is very particular about certain things.
Hmm.
She wants you to stick to the lines of the script,
Okay.
and make sure that's not lost. Once again, this depends on the musical. It depends
Right.
on the play. This
Right.
play, it was very important that we got the lines right, because you have jokes in almost everything. You
Hmm.
have puns. You can't miss certain things. She's always been, she stuck to that rule. Please know your lines
Okay.
as soon as you can. It will help your character.
Okay.
Having said that, she really lets you improvise.
Okay.
I'm proud to say that maybe you would have caught the Sunday evening show. Am I right?
Yeah. Sunday evening.
Yeah. My
Yeah.
Sunday morning show had different nuances as a
Oh.
character. It wasn't
Okay.
exactly the same. The lines were the same, but the way I conveyed them were different.
Okay.
So she does, if she sees that your portrayal of the character is authentic and
Hmm.
is sticking to the overall arch of your storyline,
Yeah.
she does not get in your way.
Okay.
This is Laila. That's the kind of director she is. Yeah.
Okay. And coming to the cast and crew, your friends, how important to have is it to have a good rapport and or a camaraderie, so to speak, with them? Because I mean, there is we see reviews saying that their chemistry was good, the chemistry was off, and we
Right.
also listen to stories that after the take they went separate ways in their own they to their own rooms
Right.
and then never spoke to each other, something like that. How
Yeah.
important is it to have an off-screen chemistry, and how important will that translate into an on-stage performance?
Right. Oh, what a wonderful question. Um, so an offstage chemistry is a bonus,
Okay.
right? If you have that with someone, it will just add to the performance. Nothing like it if it's there.
Hmm.
Having said that, there are many people, many volunteers who have joined this year as actors, or as some people have painted sets who we have never met before, right? It's the first time that they are a part of this.
Right.
When you go through 2 months of rehearsal together,
Mhm.
right? We are all going towards a single goal. Our goal is to entertain the audience, and that's what we have to do. And no matter what your role is in the musical, we all know that is our goal. And we have to tick mark that. At the end of the day, the audience should leave with a smile on their face,
Right.
right? That is the goal, ultimately, what Laila looks for, whether you like it or not. So, having gone through that rehearsal time with each other, bonds are ultimately formed. You build chemistry.
Right.
Secondly, to add to that, we had the makeup tutorial this time.
Right.
So it was so refreshing because the girls obviously are better at makeup, right?
Yeah.
They would come and help us, and they say, you know what, your your eyeliner is a little off. Let's come and help you,
Okay.
and uh, that was a real bonding moment once again, right?
Okay.
Just a simple thing of doing your own makeup,
Right.
where one person is not sure and the other person is helping. So the process of doing a musical leads to camaraderie
Right.
because it builds bonds that we will have forever now. Like the entire cast and crew of Something Rotten, we will always have these memories. You remember he went on stage with his zip open. You remember we did the makeup together, right? So to answer your question, camaraderie can be built over a period of time.
Perfect. Perfect. So finally, I want to ask this question because many of my students want to take up theater and they are shy. And even for me, for that matter, like if I want to direct a play or if I want to act in one, or any layman who wants to get into this, irrespective of age, whatever it is, what is the advice that you have? And most importantly, dear friends, uh, also, is it important to have a good educational background or a financial background to get into this full time? Because some of my students are into this and they are not
Right.
of a good means as well. So, how important is to strike a balance? Because many of my students are considering this very seriously. So, I just wanted to
Right.
ask this. Right from the horse's mouth, it would be better. Over to you.
Okay. So yeah, a multifaceted question. So I'll just give multiple answers.
Sure, sure, sure.
Um, can you just repeat the first part of your question so that we go,
Yeah.
in
So, the
a
first part
streamlined
is,
order?
can anybody act? Can anybody join theater? That's the question.
Okay.
Yeah, the first one.
According to me, acting is just uh, you conveying human emotion under an unreal circumstance,
Right.
right? That's all that it is. Are we all humans? Do we have emotions? Absolutely.
Right.
Right? The only difference is we need to find a way to channel them in a certain, what do you say, a certain way.
Hmm.
According to me, I feel anyone can act. Having said that, it makes a lot of difference as to what your environment has been growing up.
Hmm.
For me, I grew up in a family. My mother's side of the family is a musical family. In that they always had music with them. They all my grandfather was on my mother's side. My grandfather was a very he was a textile engineer, but he had a big passion for music, acting, and the performing arts, right? So because of that, he inculcated those values in all of his children, including my mom. Then from my mom taught me to play the guitar.
Great.
She taught me singing. She taught me, she's also all these characterizations I get from her because she
Oh,
imitates so many people
okay.
and fun at home.
Yeah.
So and my dad has this very uncanny comic timing.
Okay.
My father, he'll
Okay.
suddenly say something and we can't help but laugh. So
Okay.
that's what I get from my father. So what I'm trying to say is my potential for acting has come from my parents
Hmm.
because of the qualities that they got, so on and so forth.
Hmm.
But they nurtured it, right? They planted the seed. What we have control over is how we grow it,
Right.
how we take that seed forward, right? So for me, I was lucky enough in my school, there was a theater group. It was called the NIE Playfest, which was the All India, what do you say, paper uh, what is this? India Times. Sorry,
India
forgive
Times.
me. India
Mm,
Times Playfest. So
mm.
we had that opportunity. I had a teacher called Kiran ma'am who was a music teacher, and she said, "You know what? Every year we take part in this NIE Playfest. Why don't you just join as a small character?" My first character was that of a peon,
Okay.
uh, who just comes in to tell the main character, "So this person has arrived.
Okay.
Please, come." It was a very small character, but for
Right.
me,
Mm.
being on stage and just performing one line was such a, I couldn't, for me, I had to double back and check, did I just go on stage?
Right. Right.
Right. So like I said, it's a multifaceted thing. It is an advantage if your family is into it,
Mm,
but we have, in this day and age, we have the control of nurturing it.
mm,
So my advice to your students is, if in your group you have one person who's part of the theater group, just be frank with them and say, "See, I'm curious about this world of theater. Can I just join you and see one day? I'll come and watch your rehearsal. It's not that
mm,
I want to take part. I'll
mm.
come and watch, right? I just want to see what goes in it." Most people, dissuade themselves from a certain craft because they are not sure of what the process is,
True.
right? Right, if you, it's as simple as how you just DM me after the show and said, "I'm interested to know these details.
Right.
Can we get on a call and let's figure this out? Can we speak to each other?" I'm
Right.
more than happy to share it with that. In fact, I'm pleasantly surprised that people are actually interested. So my advice to your students is,
Mm,
please be unapologetic about your questions, right? Don't be shy about them. Please ask. If you know someone in your group who's doing something that you feel excites you, please feel free to ask them. And when it comes to the financial background thing,
yeah.
I don't think that matters, at least from my personal experience. In our theater group, we have people from multiple backgrounds, but we don't, that doesn't make a difference. If you suit the character perfectly, you will get that character. It's as
Okay.
simple as that. So have I answered most of the question? Did I
Yeah.
miss any part?
And also, like, when does the student feel that, okay, this is it, this is what I want to do? Because students nowadays are very confused. In fact, to be very
Right.
honest with you, they join CA just out of herd mentality. Because the pass
Absolutely.
percentage in CA is just in single digits, but still they join because their friends are joining. But their heart is in
Right.
music, their heart is in theater. So when
Understand.
they switch, what should they do? So this should come from you, because you are from an engineering background, you were successful in the corporate world. Something
Yeah.
told you within, like, look, this is enough, I'll switch. So what is that factor, that gut feeling? When is it right to switch?
So my gut feeling came because I was doing something that did not speak to my heart, and I
Mm,
did it.
mm,
So my thing is, and this is a personal choice
of
for
course.
me, I have to do something to know whether it is for me or not.
Mm,
And I am willing to take that risk, saying that, okay, these many years will go, right? You have to spend that time. You have to go through it. You have to have human experience to know, right? Which is why once I was in my corporate job, I had, I'll be honest, the pay was nice. They used to send a car every day. You go and come. It's a very cushy life. And then just 2 years in, I was like, what is happening, right? I'm just doing the same thing day in and a day out. That was what spurred me into the thing. And at the same time, I took this option because I had the option, in the sense that I was doing both theater, music, and my job at the same time, right? Now, it's very important that I frame this properly for your students, because they must understand, you
mm,
need to have that, uh, what do you say, that interest and talent prior to taking your decision.
right.
Don't take a hasty decision just because right now you're not enjoying your what's happening, right? Let's not be, what's the word, irrational.
Mm, very
Live
true.
in a world where people are going to pay you more money for doing the job that no one else wants to do. That's what it is.
Right.
That's how we are living, right?
Right.
It is up to you to figure out how you're going to fund your own journey. So why I'm telling you this is, I fund my journey by teaching my skill, which is as a music teacher, right?
Right.
I'm getting paid for that, and I'm doing that to support my dream. So, in the sense, I'm not a, you could say I'm not a full fledged artist yet. It's not like I'm only doing that and that's what's bringing my money. I'm working for certain hours in a day and I'm doing both. My advice to your students is do your course, okay? Don't take hasty decisions. If you're going to take a risk, take a calculated risk. This is my advice to them. I'm being very honest. I know most artists will say, no, follow your passion, do this. Right. Please, I'm not for that. I'm saying do your degree, learn a skill that someone will definitely pay you for, because that's the world we live in. Right. Having said that, use your day job to fund your passion.
Excellent.
It's a superpower. It's a superpower. You are getting your monthly salary. Out of 4 weekends, 2 weekends, don't go watch that movie. Instead of that, spend it in a studio to record your song. Instead of that, spend it on social media promotion for your Instagram post. Right? It's all about bifurcation, and this is my advice to them. Yeah.
Thank you so much. In fact, Rahael also has his new song also. So probably a couple of lines from your song. I did my research today. So
that's so nice. I wasn't expecting. Yeah, sure. I'd love to sing. The name of the song is "If I Were to Say." It's on Spotify, Amazon, on everything, Apple. It's basically a love song. I'll just sing the initial. If I were to play a song for you today, would you sway with me and dance the night away? Would you hold my hand after all the songs are sung? Thank you.
Very nice. Excellent. So guys, Rahael has his own YouTube channel. I will put it in the description. Kindly do follow, and please, he's an extremely talented, artist. Please support and please do follow. And for all my students of Mysore, Goa, Mangalore, please go for the musical. You will really enjoy. I laughed my lungs out, to be honest. It was so awesome. So one is on 3rd September, if I'm not wrong. It's in Mysore, Jagan Mohan Palace, the famous Jagan Mohan Palace, my dear friends. And could you please give me the details of the other two in Goa and Mangalore?
Absolutely. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share the poster with you, and maybe you can add it in the edit on hall, and the dates will be on the poster.
Super. All right. So friends, I just want to thank you, Rahael, for taking time off. I just pinged you yesterday out of sheer interest and admiration, and you heartily accepted. So thanks a lot. It was actually a fun interview. I was having my apprehension as to what to ask you, but it was natural, and we sort of really had a fun interview. So thank you so much for this. Thanks a lot. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for taking in an interest. Like you said, you have the interest of going for movies, going to plays, checking things out. Never lose that interest. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to speaking to you and helping us promote the performing arts. And thank you for the wonderful questionnaire. What beautiful questions. It was easy for me to answer because they were framed so well. Looking forward to interfacing with you in the future.
Of course, definitely. And guys, in the end, if you have already forgotten about the musical Something Rotten, please know that the only thing that is rotten is your brain, which you have forgotten. Right? So please, Nick Bottom is in the house. All hail. So I'll let the leading man take a parting shot. Over to you, Rahael. Parting shot.
Hey everyone, it's been an absolute pleasure to be on this channel. All the best for your futures. Remember, the sky is the limit, and the limit is only what you think it is. All the best, everyone.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. See you.
Oh, did we forget to mention?
Oh, no. I'm engaged. Oh, sure. One time I almost...
I blow my my nose at you.
Dirty, rotten, skip, no!
Bro, get ready.